Tonight, exclusive Dan Rather, what happened? His first live in-depth interview on his life after CBS. He tells his side of the abrupt departure that ended his legendary 44 years at CBS News. And he'll tell us about what he's doing next and why. Dan Rather covers it all and takes your calls next on Larry King Live. Good evening. It's always a great pleasure to have as our guest the broadcasting legend Dan Rather. And as you know, he recently left CBS after 44 years, just got a new job. We'll talk about all that tonight. But first, let's take a quick look at an extraordinary career. He's reported from the front lines of wars and protests.
But don't push me. Take your hands off of me unless you plan to arrest me.
Had memorable on-air run-ins with President Richard Nixon.
Are you running for something? No, sir, Mr. President, are you?
And then Vice President George Herbert Walker Bush.
Well, Dan, let's be careful here because you're...
Yes, sir, I want you to be careful, Mr. Vice President, because
I will be careful. I don't remember that.
Then how do you explain that you can't remember it? The other people at the meeting say he was apoplectic.
I wasn't there at that point.
And by 1981, Dan Rather was ready to take over as CBS News anchor from a broadcast legend.
A great broadcaster and gentleman, Doug Edwards, preceded me in this job, and another, Dan Rather, will follow.
He would hold that chair for 24 years, 3 more than Walter Cronkite. And he never stopped chasing scoops. But in 2004, he was correspondent for a 60 Minutes 2 story questioning President George W. Bush's National Guard service. Internet bloggers challenged key documents in that report, and CBS finally acknowledged it couldn't authenticate them.
It was a mistake. CBS News deeply regrets it. Also, I want to say personally and directly, I'm sorry.
Before an independent panel released its findings on Memogate, Rather announced he'd step down as CBS News anchor in March of 2005, a year before what would have been his 25th anniversary.
After nearly a quarter of a century as the anchor of this broadcast, I've decided it's time to move on.
And then 3 weeks ago, a sudden, unceremonious exit from the network where he'd worked for 4 decades. We welcome Dan Rather, as always, to Larry King Live. What happened? Why so abrupt? What happened, Dan?
Well, Larry, I don't know everything that happened. What I do know is that there was a contract which went unfulfilled, and there were promises not kept. I was surprised by that. I never heard the other side of the story, which is to say that I never heard from the top of the corporation or the top of the news division.
Didn't call you?
No. So I don't know, but I want to make it clear that I don't have any complaints. You know, my mother taught me, as she had been taught by her grandmother, my grandmother Page, her mother, my grandmother Page, about yesterday, no tears, about tomorrow, no fears. And what happened at CBS is yesterday. Much of it is a puzzle to me. It remains a puzzle to me. I wish I had the answers of exactly what happened. But I've said to you that there were promises unkept. I never heard the other side.
Later we'll talk about the new job. But are they painful puzzles? I mean,
well, the straight answer to that
years.
is, I hate to use the word painful, but it's apt. It's apt. I was disappointed and puzzled. And, perhaps there were good reasons for this. But as with so much of life, we don't know the full story, and I may never know the full story. It may be simple, it may be complicated. And what I don't want to do is play any games with you or with the audience and say, oh, well, it didn't matter. Of course it mattered. I had 44 years there. But in the end, what I was told, what was relayed to me was, we just don't have a place for you.
And how was that said? Were you at your desk? What happened to this? You get a phone call?
I got a phone call from the lawyers. It was relayed by the lawyers. A little earlier than that, the executive producer of 60 Minutes had said that he expected me to be gone by the end of June, by the end of May. And that came as a surprise to me. But perhaps I should have known, going along, that there was a point in the middle of last year in which what I thought had been a warm, good relationship with the very top management turned marble slab cold. And why that was, I don't know. But, I want to answer the questions directly, but it's important to me that you know, and anybody watching or listening know, that I've been extremely lucky. I was really lucky to work at CBS News, and I'll never feel any other way that I was really lucky to work there. I was, blessed to be able to live my dream in many ways at CBS News. And what happened with all the things that the country has to worry about now.
Yeah, but you're part of the country. You're part of the country's law. You're a part of this.
Well, I
let me
appreciate you
read you
saying
the statement made by Sean McManus, president of CBS News and Sports. Of all the famous names associated with CBS News, the biggest and brightest on the marquee are Murrow, Cronkite, and Rather. With the utmost respect, we mark the extraordinary and singular role Dan has played in writing the script not only of CBS News, but of broadcast journalism. There will always be a part of Dan Rather at CBS News. He is truly a reporter's reporter, and he's helped to train several generations of broadcast journalists. His legacy cannot be replicated. Does that ease it?
Well, I very much appreciate that. I appreciate Sean McManus saying that. But I'm
Would have been
looking
nicer
forward
if
to
he
it.
said it to you.
Well, after I was gone, as I was going, this is what they said, and I do appreciate it. Larry, I'm looking ahead. CBS News is in my rearview mirror now. I have a special place for the people, present and past, at CBS News that I worked with. It's filled with really caring, dedicated, working people. There came a time when I realized, and everybody realized, I shouldn't speak for everybody, speaking for myself, that we were working for not CBS and not CBS News, we were working for Viacom News, which was a whole different thing, a larger
Entertainment company.
That was the, yes, it was a large entertainment company. And now they split back, but we started working for Viacom News with different interests, different traditions. And more lately, and they have a right to do this, they've indicated they want to go in a different direction. The very top management has said they want to, I think this is a paraphrase of a quote, they want to break with the past. They want to be done with the past and build something new. And I'll be interested to see what that something new is. But it's, I want to do news that matters. And so much of news these days, and this is not directed at CBS, and I include myself as one who from time to time, maybe more than time to time, has been a part of it. But it's so driven by ratings, so driven by demographics, so driven by what we used to be told was stockholder value. It's driven for things other than the public interest. That, I want to do news that's fair and accurate, do it of integrity, and want to do it in the public interest, and I now have an opportunity to do that at HDNet.
We'll talk about that later. Our guest is Dan Rather. You're watching Larry King Live. Don't go away.
Good evening. President Reagan still training his spotlight on the economy. Officially called Operation Desert Storm. The American evacuation, similar to that from Phnom Penh, Cambodia, just 17 days ago.
Unemployment, higher or lower? Lower.
See, it's important to say these things at the very beginning. There is much that is not known about what is happening. The story. Tim McVeigh is about to learn his fate for blowing up. Much of it is first-person gritty. The users, the sellers, the families, the law. And to each of you, courage. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting.
So, tell me in your own words a little bit about Geico.
Well, it's one-stop shopping, really, Geico.com. You can get a free rate quote, you could compare coverage options, you could file a claim, pay your bill online, even, have a little chat with an associate if you need help.
What about you? Can they chat with you?
I'm here for Geico, love. Let's not delve into my personal life, eh?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Here's the threat. Have a beat.
They say that in life, there's only room for one great passion. Unless you're really clever. Viagra. Viagra can help guys with all degrees of erectile dysfunction, from mild to severe.
Before taking Viagra, make sure you are healthy enough to have sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain because it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away. Viagra is one of several ED treatments you and your doctor can consider.
Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
I've reviewed GoDaddy's request to advertise with us. I'm sure you're the world's #1 in .com names. .com's for just $1.99 with free email and free hosting and free website included. You know, I get that. I do. And of course, you know, GoDaddy's service is very personal. GoDaddy, though, does have a bit of reputation, especially after last year's ad.
Just go to www.godaddy.com.
The failure of CBS News to do just that, to properly, fully scrutinize the documents and their source, led to our airing the documents when we should not have done so. It was a mistake. CBS News deeply regrets it. Also, I want to say personally and directly, I'm sorry.
You think that was it? That's the reason you're gone, even though you stayed a while?
I don't know. It's certainly possible.
In your statement, you said, as for their offers of a future with only an office but no assignment, it just isn't in me to sit around doing nothing. How did they make that offer? They said to you, what, do you want to sit around?
No, it came through lawyers.
Like, do you want a desk?
It was, if you want to stay with a desk and a secretary and an office, certainly not an office right here, and if you're prepared to sign a piece of paper that says you'll never say anything derogatory about CBS or won't do it for a long time, and that you'll never sue the company, then you can do that. But anybody who knows me knows that, you know, I want to work. I'd much rather wear out than rust out. And for others, that may be a good way to go. And some others have gone that way. They're quite comfortable with taking an office. You know, age comes into it, and your hunger for work and what you want to do. But frankly, I saw this as kind of a version of not golden handcuffs, but maybe brass handcuffs. But you know, it's behind me. They handled it in a curious way, and I wish I knew the whole story. I wish I had had an opportunity to say, "Hey, what's happening? This is Dan. You know, you
think of calling someone at one of the suits and saying, "Let's have lunch"? And
never happened. After a certain point, I didn't talk to anybody at the top, and I found that strange.
Yeah, concerning the National Guard story, Mike Wallace was on this show, and I asked him about it. Watch.
Rather is a friend, first of all. Good friend. Man I respect. Brave, courageous, first-rate reporter. He and the people that he was working with took on the piece about the president's military service. The people who were fired as a result of that were the people who helped him. I felt that Dan, when these people who worked so hard with him on that piece, when they were fired, that he, and I told him so, Dan, I think you should have, I mean, you probably still should. You should have resigned.
React?
I'm not going to get any argument with Mike Wallace or any of the others who have seen fit to pass their judgments on me. He's entitled to his opinion. One thing I'd like the record to show, that the first time Mike said that to me was after he had done an interview for NBC Dateline. That's the first time he mentioned to me what he thought I could have, might have, should have done. But, you know, Mike and the others who've been critical and have their own view in hindsight of what might have done, could have done, they have to answer for themselves in the times in the past when things may not have gone right. But I'm not going to get any argument with them. There's too much of journalists arguing with one another, too much in the personalities of things, that I would also like to say that when Mike says he's a friend, that during the year and a half before I left, there was some curious, speaking of curious things happening, some curious things happened. But, you know, he's
Mike and
entitled.
you?
Yeah.
Does it leave you with a bad taste?
It wasn't the best of tastes.
Disappointment?
Some.
Do you still feel a loyalty to those producers who worked with you?
Absolutely. One of my disappointments was that, you know, over most if not all of my career, I've taken the view that we go into stories together. No matter what happens, we stay together and we come out the other side together. But Larry, I can't believe very many people are still interested in this. That, of course, it's painful when Mike Wallace, who I've known for a long time, says these kinds of things in retrospect, and he wasn't the only one. But it's an old story in life as well as journalism, that when the heat gets on and when you get knocked down, some people surprise you because they come to your aid and you say, wow, I never knew that guy would do that, or I never knew that woman would do that. And other people are the other way. But overall and in the main, you're looking at one lucky man. I've been a lucky journalist all my life.
Well, luck is the residue of design, as Branch Rickey once said. We have an email to our website from Cynthia of Easton, Maryland, who wants to know, do you think age discrimination played any role in your departure from CBS?
Well, as I said, I don't know. I know so little about the departure. I simply don't know. It certainly has not been a factor in what I'm moving to. That to get this opportunity that I have at HDNet to do a program of my own in which I have editorial and creative control, working for a man in Mark Cuban, who I think understands that hard news needs backers who won't back down, won't back away when the heat gets on.
I want to get to that. How do you deal with, we were talking earlier in the offices about loss, and the hardest thing would probably be the loss of a child, and then divorce or breakups. Loss of a job. How do you deal with that when you're told goodbye? And how do you deal with it? Wife a big help? What?
Of course. But Larry, it's different when you change jobs at my age and stage career. The reason I said before I was lucky, listen, I haven't had it tough over the last year and a half. You know, a single mother trying to make it with kids, the policeman who walks the beat in a tough neighborhood late at night, people who are at the charity hospital after midnight on Saturday morning. These people have it tough, and many, many people, when they lose a job, have real financial issues. I remember my father, who worked with his back in his hands all his life, dug ditches for pipelines and eventually climbed poles as a lineman, that he quit a job once and went into business, and the business folded. And I remember the concern, fear, bordering on terror of my mother, because my father was out of work. Now, many Americans, particularly those who are of age during the Depression, have these stories. The answer to your question, of course, it's never comfortable to lose a job. And I want to make sure that people understand that I know how lucky I am. And for me, I can't say it was no big deal, but...
You weren't in a financial bind.
I was not in a financial bind, and it had reached a point where I was eager to move on to whatever the next thing. I wish it had been at CBS News, but it wasn't, and so I moved on to the next thing.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll ask Dan's thoughts about the coming of Katie Couric to CBS, and later we'll talk about his new job. We'll also be including your phone calls for Dan Rather. Don't go away.
He's a superb reporter. Look, he let his heart show You remember the hassle that he had with George W. Bush's father?
Oh.
On the air? While Brokaw and Jennings kept it at arm's length, rather showed the way he felt. Just big deal.
I knew I had skin cancer, but I didn't realize that I had malignant melanoma, the most deadly kind.
They found a growth on my left vocal cord, which came back malignant.
I could go ahead and have the surgery, or get a second opinion. I wanted a second opinion.
My wife gave me this 800 number and said that I needed to call and talk with Harry at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
There are options, there is hope, and that's what I'm here for, is to kind of help them through this decision-making process.
We provide the patient with treatment options that most places don't have.
How much hope does that put in a person that's just been diagnosed? To be talking with someone now that says they've survived 5 years.
Our cancer information specialists are available 24 hours a day. Call now and they'll send you this free DVD and information showing you how hospitals dedicated solely to treating cancer can offer you treatment options you may not even know exist.
There's always hope. We came to the right place. This is how it's going to be in heaven. That's what I tell my husband.
Diamonds. The Jewelry Exchange has thousands at the guaranteed lowest price. Half-carat ISI diamonds are $800, 3/4 carat $1,600, and 1 carat just $2,900. Buy direct. The Jewelry Exchange with superstores nationwide or online at jewelryexchange.com.
Tomorrow on Nancy Grace, the father of 9-year-old murder victim Jessica Lunsford is Nancy's guest in a live primetime exclusive. Nancy Grace, Headline Prime.
On Wednesday, October 2nd, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I intend to beat this disease, and further, I intend to ride again as a professional cyclist.
Lance Armstrong is a survivor and a champion, but his fight is not over. 10 million people in the U.S. are living with cancer. You can make a difference at livestrongchallenge.org or call 888-4CHALLENGE. Rise to the challenge in Portland on July 30th. Walk, run, or ride to raise funds for the Lance Armstrong Foundation. The Livestrong Challenge. Register today at livestrongchallenge.org or call 888-4CHALLENGE.
For 7 years, they chased Lance Armstrong. Now, the world's greatest riders are in it to win it. The Tour de France, July 2006. If you missed the live coverage, catch the tour the day after on OLN On Demand.
Now the pressure is on. It's still a long way to go. It is long and interminable, the 1,000 meters at the top.
Ride beside the best cyclist in the world. July 2nd through the 24th, only on OLN On Demand with Comcast Digital Cable.
Let's get to the truth. It's time for Answers.
Lou Dobbs tonight. CNN tomorrow, 6 Eastern.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Good evening. The Atomic Energy Commission has just announced the completion.
President Truman held a news conference, as is customary on Thursdays, and he answered one of the big questions that's
Good evening from our CBS newsroom in New York on this, the first broadcast of network television's first daily half-hour news program.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Never before in 25 years of Americans in space.
Good evening, I'm Bob Schieffer. Tom DeLay's fall from power is complete. The former House Republican leader is resigning from Congress.
Little history of a great network. The next one in that anchor chair will be Katie Couric. What do you think?
She's a very good interviewer. She's a good and decent person. Her father was a newspaper man. She has a very good on-screen personality. And if she demonstrates she loves the news and has leadership skills, she'll be, which I think she does in both cases, she'll be fine.
Denny Foreman of Overland Park, Kansas asks concerning her, what will be her largest challenge or obstacle in becoming the first female ever to be the solo anchor of an evening news for a major network?
To demonstrate that she loves the news. That particularly doing evening news broadcasts, there has to be a sense of trust. It's less, in my opinion, others have other opinions, it's less whether people like your smile or like your tie or like what you're wearing or like your personality than whether they think that you're a journalist in your core. There are other people with other views who don't believe this. This is my view. And
you think the public recognizes it?
I do. My experience is that people who watch news broadcasts recognize it. And they, people will have their favorites. But they do recognize it.
In Katie's case, because she's such a good broadcaster, that the odds would be in her favor.
If, as I say, she demonstrates she loves the news, I expect her to do well. I think she'll do well. A lot of it, again, we're talking about personalities. Frankly, I think it's less what Katie can do than it is what do the people who run the network and run the news division, what kind of news do they want? Do they really want to put on? If it's completely ratings driven by demographics, and doesn't have a sense, a fairly strong sense of public service, then whatever she does will be more difficult. There are other factors. We're not going to go into the business of television too far, but for example, the owned and operated stations of the CBS chain haven't been the strongest in recent years. And what comes before you and what follows you on the air in the evening news has a great deal to do with how you do in the ratings. I said for years, you give me Oprah in front of me and Wheel of Fortune behind me, and I'll win for you. I'll win in Dallas, I'll win in Dubuque, I'll win in Des Moines for you. It was a way of saying what comes before you and what comes afterward. But we'll have to see that Ms. Couric is at CBS News now, and we'll see in the fall how she does. I like her chances.
You do like her chances?
I do.
We will take a break, and when we come back, more with Dan Rather. In the next half hour, we'll also be including some of your phone calls, some more emails as well. And we'll find out about Dan's new gig. Don't go away.
To our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines in dangerous places, to those who have endured the tsunami, and to all who have suffered natural disasters and who must now find the will to rebuild, to the oppressed and to those whose lot it is to struggle in financial hardship or in failing health, to my fellow journalists in places where reporting the truth means risking all, and to each of you, courage. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
Firestone Complete Auto Care makes it easy to save during our biggest tire event of the year. Choose buy 3, get 1 free savings on dual or SUV tires, or choose any size, one low price on performance tires and hundreds more. That's any size, one price. That's Firestone Complete Auto Care.
Tired of waiting for a big pot of water to boil, then breaking the pasta to make it fit? When it's time to strain, it can be a pain. Now there's a better way with the Pasta Express. Just watch. Place the pasta in the Pasta Express. Pour in boiling water covering the pasta. Press the strainer into place. Pop on the thermal lid, and the pasta cooks right before your eyes in minutes. The secret is the revolutionary thermal conductivity design that keeps the water the perfect temperature for perfect cooking every time. Here's the best part. Remove the lid and drain and strain the pasta at the same time. Since nothing sticks, cleanup is a breeze. It's dishwasher safe. Cook all types of pasta perfectly. Angel hair, fusilli, orzo. And it's not just for cooking plain pasta. Cook all your favorite veggies quickly and easily without boiling away all the minerals, vitamins, and nutrients. Delicious. Now you don't need specialty cookware to make perfectly tender asparagus. Broccoli and cavatelli has never been easier. Just add olive oil, garlic, seasonings, toss, and you're done. Cook, strain, add butter and parsley, toss for the best gnocchi ever. Never overcook shrimp again. Perfect shrimp cocktail every time. You'll get rays for your ravioli. Serve delicious peas that are sure to please. Call or click on the web address to order the Pasta Express with Deluxe Color Recipe Guide for only $19.99 and receive the personal size free. Makes great, quick and easy, delicious hot dogs. Watch again. Just add hot water and the pasta cooks right before your eyes. You get it all. The Pasta Express, the Personal Size Express, and the Deluxe Color Recipe Guide, all for only $19.99. Fill the Pasta Express with your favorite pasta for the perfect gift. Click or call to order now.
Call 1-800-311-9244.
10 years after
after TWA Flight 800 exploded. What are airline passengers not being told? A special 2-hour investigation.
Why are passengers still at risk?
CNN presents No Survivors. Saturday and Sunday night, 7 Eastern.
Okay, let's do it. Stand by, Wolf. Stand by, everyone. Come to me. Here's my take. Cue. Music. Pull.
Every piece of video that I see is great video.
Straight to you, Wolf.
Director Josh. The senior Republican.
One to the one. Track, go.
We're back with an extraordinary broadcaster, an old friend, Dan Rather. You mentioned earlier, I want to go back to it, unkept promises, like?
Well, I was told that I was going to be a regular correspondent on 60 Minutes. I wasn't. That's an example. But they were unkept promises, and I asked several times that the promises be kept. And
what'd they tell you?
Well, I was told through third parties, we think we're keeping them. That was part of it. And in some cases, it was demonstrably true that they weren't keeping it. You know, Larry, as I talk about this, and I want to answer your questions as truthfully as I can, as candid as I can, but it's compared to what news ought to be doing, concentrating on whatever happened to Dan Rather at CBS News, how he left, under what circumstances, and even the story in which we didn't do as good a job as I thought we should have done. And I do want to make clear, you've played several times the clip of what I apologize on the air. That was, first of all, I was playing team, meant every word of it, in that we had a lot of corroboration of what we broadcast about President Bush's military record. It wasn't just the documents, but it's a very old technique used, that when those who don't like what you're reporting believe it can be hurtful, then they'd look for the weakest spot and attack it, which is fair enough. It's a diversionary technique.
You're saying that was a fair report? I mean, you believe that report to this day?
Do I believe the truth of the story? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You ever thought of entertaining a lawsuit?
Notice that I paused.
A pregnant pause.
No, I'm not going to talk about that.
But you're not saying no. I'm being a Dan Rather journalist now. You did not say no.
No. You asked me had I ever thought about it, and the answer is I can't say that I never thought about it.
Okay. It's been reported that you refused to be interviewed for the upcoming PBS American Masters documentary on Walter Cronkite. Katie Couric reportedly is the narrator of that. Is that true?
I don't know that Katie Couric is the narrator of it. Here's what's true. Walter never asked me to do that. Walter Cronkite has never asked me to do anything that I didn't try very hard to do. Walter never asked me to do this, and therefore I never was in a position of saying no to him.
Oh, it's his program? Or is it the producer's program?
Well, it's a program, I don't know the name of the program, but here's the thing, that if he had asked me to do it, I would do it. I think this is just somebody looking to try to stir something up. I'm sure it'll be a good program, and I'll be watching.
CBS has said it plans to do a primetime special about your career this fall. What do you think of that? Will you be involved?
They have said that, and I don't know what to think about it. And we haven't got to the point, they haven't discussed it with me in any detail. So I don't know what I'll be involved.
Does it make you feel good? I mean, obviously, it's going to be a salute.
Well, I don't know. Do you have that in writing, by the way?
No, I don't know that they're doing it. But have you heard they're doing it?
They told me they were doing it. I don't want to blame it. They told me they'd do it. But my goal now is to get this new thing going, the HDNet thing going, and if they do it, that'll be fine.
A harsh email from Maxine of New Orleans. Why can't Dan Rather just retire gracefully? He gets no sympathy here.
Well, I appreciate the lady saying that, and she's entitled, and it's a fair enough question, that I could retire, but I don't want to to stop doing the news. The news it's in my marrow. And as long as I have my health, and this is not something I've been saying since I reached my 70s or my 60s, my 50s, started all my life, as long as I have my health, I want to be reporting somewhere. So while I can respect the lady's point of view and smile a bit about it, I have to say respectfully, it's just not in my nature that I want to work. I was raised by people who worked very hard and who loved to work hard and took joy in their work. And I came up in that environment. That's the way I feel now. I can't wait to get to HDNet and do Dan Rather reports in an environment in which ratings, demographics, the corporate entanglements with the need for legislation and regulation, all of that's behind me now.
I'm going to ask you about that next after the break. But you mentioned loving the news. What do you mean by that? You know, as you get up in the morning, you love the story? You love war stories? You love that?
I don't love war stories. Nobody loves war stories.
Most news is bad.
But that's not altogether true, but it's another subject for another day. What do I mean by loving the news? You know what love is. There's a dictionary definition of love, and there's inside you. You know what you love.
You know when you love it.
And you know when you love it. And for whatever reason, I've loved the news since I can remember. I loved it when I was in elementary school.
Now, do you know it when you watch someone, if they love it?
Over a period of time, I can tell. You can't tell it snap like that. You can't tell it in 15 minutes, but, you know, I think I can tell. Sometimes I miss. But, you know, when you love something, you want to continue doing it. Now we're talking about work. If you love to play the piano, if you love to dance, I love to report. And I want to do news that matters.
We're going to take a break, come back, talk about his new job, and take your phone calls. Tomorrow night, Jimmy Kimmel is with us. Don't go away.
Back there, behind this first vehicle, is a Humvee, which is described by someone who's seen it as, quote, having the windows blown out. Shrimpy's Restaurant by the Sea became, in effect, a bunker for Iraqi troops with their SAM missiles. You can see where they were living all back in here. They left here in a hurry.
For each of us, there's a moment of discovery. We see that all of life is elemental. And as we marvel at element bonding with element, we soon realize that when you add the human element to the equation, the chemistry changes. We find a way of seeing that gives us a way of touching. Issues, ambitions, lives. The human element. Nothing is more fundamental. Nothing more elemental.
Introducing Triple Flex from Nature Made, the joint care supplement that can help you get back in the game.
As you get older, your joints get stiff, you lose a little of that flexibility.
And that's why I told him about Triple Flex.
Over 1 million Americans have chosen Triple Action Triple Flex for joint comfort, mobility, and flexibility. Over 50 clinical studies have shown that the natural ingredients in Triple Flex improve joint health. Glucosamine helps to improve joint function and joint comfort. Chondroitin improves joint mobility. MSM reduces discomfort and promotes joint flexibility.
Triple Flex will allow me to be as active as I was 10 years ago.
Since I started taking Triple Flex, I can use my hands for a longer period of time. There's no problem.
Call or go online now to receive a special Triple Flex booklet and $10 in coupons. Triple Flex is the exclusive national supplement sponsor of the Arthritis Foundation's Arthritis Walk.
Call 1-800-840-3639 or visit tripleflex.com and try new Triple Flex Bone and Joint. Look for it in the vitamin aisle.
We're back with Dan Rather. We'll ask about his new job and take some calls. But first, I did ask you, and I just skipped over the answer of who was your strong rock who stood by you when this happened? I mean, where did comfort come from?
Well, my wife Jean and my children and grandchildren. I think this is true of most people who go through whatever trouble. Having said that, I didn't consider it a particularly difficult time.
You didn't?
No. Partly because I did have a lot of support, and partly because I had in context. And I always talk about reporting needs more context and perspective and more depth, and I tried to apply it to my situation and said, listen, compared with most people, you're among the luckiest guys on the planet.
Sure
and
are.
I particularly feel that since I've signed this new arrangement with Mark Cuban and HDNet.
What is that deal?
It has three parts. First and foremost, I'm to do a 1-hour weekly news program in which I have creative and editorial control, complete and total, do what I want to do. That we hope to make a combination of hard-edge field reports, investigative stories, and interviews. You know, I would like to do interviews, Larry, as well as you do them. I'd like to do interviews that with a combination of doing your homework and good common sense, that you ask the kind of questions that people sitting in their living room watching TV shout at the TV set when a news program is on and saying, why don't you ask him this question? Why don't you ask him that question? And I think I can have some fun with it, but most importantly, I'd like to make a contribution. I know that may strike some people as trite or corny, but I really feel it.
What are the other parts?
The other part of this arrangement are I'm to do at least 2 documentaries a year. Once we get up and rolling, we might be able to do more, but 2 a year. And if I can contribute anything to their movie business, then they're eager to hear it. They have, they help produce Good Night and Good Luck. They've had a very good run of movies. Now, what I know about the movie business could be written on the stomach of a germ, and I'm not sure that I can contribute very much, but those are the 3 parts of it.
Now, what is the HD network?
Well, the HD network is, HD is high def.
But I mean, where is it seen?
If you have a high def television set, which the day is coming when, if not everybody, almost everybody will have a high def television set, because the image is so much sharper.
There's only 30 channels there now in HD. You're one of the 30?
They have 2, but the HD Net is 1, and by far the best of the group for reasons that we can go into another time. But if you have, when you get a high def television set, and you then call your cable subscriber or your satellite provider, and they take it the rest of the way.
Can you see it in other areas? I mean, you must have HD to see this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a high definition.
So you're going to have a much lower audience to start than you're used to.
Well, that's true. But at this time, I'm more interested in the quality of what we do than the quantity that we get to watch it. That I'm very eager to get to it, Larry, because the new technology, not just high def, also what's happening on the internet, the new technology can make news so much better than it's been. I'm eager to get to it and explore ways to use the new technology, to use the new ways of
Did Mark Cuban contact you?
A mutual friend, a mutual acquaintance, put us together. That I was looking for the next generation of investors who understood news, understood what it took to back a news operation in the tradition of Bill Paley, what he did in the late 20s, early 30s, and on into the 40s and 50s, what Ted Turner did. And when people say to me, well, HDNet, you know, I don't know, high definition, I can remember when they said it about CNN. They said, oh, it's a noodle network, it's not going to amount to anything, Ted Turner's a wow man. Well, here we are in 2006 and we see where they are. I believe in the future of high definition television, and I also want to do something online in the internet world. I'm not sure what that will be, but I want to do that.
You ain't going away.
Well, with God's grace, I won't be going away.
Supermodel Heidi Klum and the Project Runway team. CNN Friday. Inside the reality TV phenomenon that's fashion's answer to American Idol. Heidi Klum judges and past Project Runway winners take your calls. Larry King Live. Friday, 9 Eastern only on CNN.
10 years after TWA Flight 800 exploded.
Why are passengers still at risk?
CNN presents No Survivors. Saturday and Sunday nights, 7 Eastern.
Do you have severe mood swings? Are there times when you feel depressed for no reason and other times when you feel abnormally energetic and happy? Do you self-medicate with alcohol to help you cope with your mood swings? OCCI is conducting a clinical research study for bipolar I disorder, also known as manic depression. Depression symptoms may include sadness, anxiousness, or empty mood. feelings of hopelessness, guilt, or worthlessness, restlessness, irritability, problems sleeping. Manic symptoms may include excessively good or euphoric mood, racing thoughts and speech, overconfidence. If you think you may have bipolar 1 disorder and are consuming 4 or more alcoholic drinks a day, you may be eligible to participate in a research study. All confidential study-related office visits, medical evaluations, and study medications will be provided at no cost to those who qualify. For more information, please contact OCCI at 503-276-6224.
I'm Ben Westland, independent candidate for governor. Are you tired of politics as usual? Declare your independence by putting me on the fall ballot for governor.
As an independent, I will bring together people from both parties to solve Oregon's problems. But first, I need your support to earn my place on the ballot. Go to benwestland.com or visit one of my regional offices and sign my petition today.
Together, we can put people before politics.
With the MLB Extra Innings package, no matter where your team is, every game's a home game. You can watch your team's games or scout the competition. Tune in to the free preview of MLB Extra Innings July 13th through the 17th.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Had a call waiting a while. Let's take it. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hello.
Good evening, Larry.
Hi.
It's wonderful to see two great broadcasters on the program tonight. Dan, I have two quick questions for you. One is, do you feel cheated by the way CBS treated you by the outcome of what you reported? And my second question is, who do or did you admire or is your mentor in broadcasting?
Well, as to the first, we've spoken about it here. Do I feel cheated? No. As to the second, I've always admired Edward R. Murrow, and not just since the recent film has been made. I consider him to be the platinum standard. That when he died, Eric Sevareid, who was also a mentor and great help to me, said of Ed Murrow, he was a shooting star. We're not likely to see his kind anytime soon. Well, I doubt that we ever see him again. But he set such a high standard that, I know
no one can reach that.
I can't meet that standard. But those are the answers to questions. And always with Murrow, I admired him. But I have many people in journalism that I admire. And I admire young people, younger correspondents. Let's face it, Larry, they're all younger now. At CBS News that I worked with, that I'm glad I don't have to compete against.
What do you think of our John Roberts, who we got from CBS?
John Roberts is first-rate help.
What did you, when you left the office the last day, did you clear out everything? Did you have mementos? What did you take?
I've never been a great memento saver, but I had a few. But basically, I left, and someone who works with me cleaned out the rest of it. But let's don't over-dramatize this.
Okay. I don't want to do that either. We have an email from Kathy Strauss of Linthium, Maryland, who asked, do you think mainstream media news will continue to be most people's primary news source with the proliferation of blogs and other non-mainstream sources?
No, I don't. That I think as time goes along, that there'll always be a place for what we now call, quote, mainstream media. I can't see ahead. My crystal ball is permanently in the hawk shop. But in terms of looking ahead, it seems inevitable to me that things are moving so swiftly with the new technology, not just high definition, which I've cast mine with high definition television, but with the internet and the new technologies. It'll be value added provided we think about it and answer to our best instincts instead of our base instincts.
Gail Schister in today's Philadelphia Inquirer, who I guess you know pretty well, she's been around a long time. She quotes Tom Brokaw as describing your exit from CBS as a train wreck you could see coming for months. What do you make of that?
I don't quite know what to make of it. I did read that. Gievicius is a very good reporter. I have no doubt about it. But while we're talking about Tom Brokaw, I've noticed that he's catching some flack about this documentary on the environment that he's done, and I don't want to miss an opportunity to back him. I haven't seen the documentary, but I know that Tom Brokaw is a first-rate journalist, and accusations by people who haven't even seen it that he was unfair and accurate. I think you can put it in the general heading, it happens regularly. When you don't report the news the way some people in power want you to report it, they're going to try to make you pay a price for it. And my support for Tom is complete in this.
Something you were attacked about a lot, right?
Well,
they called Dan Rather, CBS, the liberal network, right?
Yeah. Well, they call you names when you insist on being independent. Larry, I think it's so important for the public to understand. It's not important for Dan Rather, not important for people who have made a lot of money and got more credit than they deserve, which I have over the years, but it's important for American people to understand that a journalist or journalistic enterprise that's willing to be truly independent and fiercely independent when called upon, and dedicated to pulling no punches and playing no favorites, have become in recent years a bit of an endangered species. And it's not for their sake, it's not for journalists' sake, but for the sake of the country. You want journalists knocking on doors and saying what's going on in there. Now, journalism is a human endeavor, and nobody can do it perfectly. Certainly I didn't do it perfectly. A lot of people think I did it lousily. Maybe I did. And I've got my scars and got my wounds. And yes, people always want to put a sign around you and call you something bad if you refuse to report the news the way they want it reported. I had my difficulties with Lyndon Johnson, certainly with Richard Nixon, with President Carter. It's in the nature that if you're an independent-minded journalist, then people who have a highly politically partisan and or ideological point of view, what they come at you with is saying, listen, if you don't report the news the way we want you to report it, we're going to make you pay a price and we'll damage you badly, and if we can destroy you, we will destroy you. Now, this is important for the public to understand. And forgive the personal reference if you must, but CBS News has a history. Edward R. Murrow took on Senator McCarthy and what he stood for. He took on With Harvest of Shame in a great documentary about the poor. Then CBS News led with civil rights, led in coverage of the Vietnam War, led in coverage of the only president in history who resigned as an unindicted co-conspirator in a widespread criminal conspiracy. Now, when you're a reporter involved in those kinds of stories on a regular basis, there are people, and there are powerful people, who say, we got to get rid of this guy, or we have to have this guy, we got to damage him up. And that's when they start hanging the signs around you.
We'll be back with our remaining moments with Dan Rather, who ain't going away. Don't go away.
For people with diabetes, testing with Freestyle is virtually pain-free. Freestyle uses the world's smallest blood sample size. Less blood means less pain. Virtually pain-free testing means happy fingers. Ask your healthcare professional about Freestyle blood glucose monitors.
Cholesterol. It can come from fettuccine Alfredo, but also from your grandpa Alfredo, from barbecue ribs, and from your Aunt Barbie. A healthy diet is important. When that's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Cholesterol comes from two sources, food and family. Vytorin treats two sources. Only Vytorin helps block the absorption of cholesterol from food and reduces the cholesterol your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin was also proven in clinical studies to lower bad cholesterol more than Lipitor alone. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. So eat right, stay active. But if that's not enough, ask your doctor about adding Vytorin. Two sources of cholesterol. Treat them both with Vytorin.
Save up to 80% buying factory direct. The Jewelry Exchange imports direct. No one sells for less. Compare most chain stores 3-stone rings in 14 karat for $1,700 with ours in 18 karat using perfectly matched diamonds for only $699. Diamond heart pendants are $79, 3-stone tennis bracelets $169, 2 karat $349, and 1 karat studs $399. The Jewelry Exchange guarantees jewelry to appraise for double. Buy direct. The Jewelry Exchange with superstores nationwide or online at jewelryexchange.com.
Don't wait an hour for morning news. At 6 a.m., CNN has the only national newscast with everything you expect by 7. With Soledad O'Brien and Mars O'Brien. 6 a.m., CNN American Morning. Tomorrow.
One of the things we'll miss from Dan on CBS is that rather turn of a phrase. We pulled together a few moments from Election Night 2000. Watch.
Back at CBS News election headquarters in New York, this much tension you can't cut with a saw. It requires a blowtorch. Bush is sweeping through the South like a tornado through a trailer park. His lead is now shakier than cafeteria jello. Turn the lights down, the party just got wilder. That will have the Bush people in Austin jumping out of their seats like they were stabbed with hat pins, but close only counts with hand grenades and horseshoes. Under the journalist creed of you trust your mother but you cut the cards and you check it out, I'm going to double check whether that's true. Mark it if you will. If you're in the kitchen, Mabel, come back in the front room. 145 for Gore. If Gore comes back now, it'd have to be rated as one of the greatest comebacks since Lazarus. But, well, I'll tell you, when it comes to reporting a race like this, I'm a long-distance runner and an all-day hunter. And I'll be here because this is just too good to miss.
Those things come naturally to you, right? You whip them out like a Ross Perot.
Well, election night's a long night, you know, and you always like to keep it interesting.
Did you have fun doing that? Did you like election night?
I love election nights, Larry. I love covering politics, and election nights are, you know, something special. And who would not have wanted to be in the anchor chair on election night 2000?
How'd you like being a White House correspondent?
Loved it. My problem is, if it is a problem, is I love it all. I never walked through the White House gates, not a single day. I covered the White House for 10 years, almost total. I never walked through those gates a single morning that I didn't say to myself, this is an honor.
Good luck to you, Dan. We'll be seeing lots of you.
Thanks, Larry.
Have you back when the show starts, too.
I'll hold you to that.
Dan Rather. One last note before we go. Tomorrow night, Jimmy Kimmel will be here, and Owen Wilson, too, from his new movie, You, Me, and Dupree. And Friday night, supermodel Heidi Klum and the Project Runway team will join us to take you inside the fashion world's answer to American Idol. They'll all answer your email, so if you have a question for Jimmy Owen or Heidi and company, email us by going to cnn.com/